Get your tickets now for the Dog Stars.
It's no surprise how fast civilization can disappear. Out there, it's kill or be killed.
Jacob Elordi.
There are people out there.
They need our help.
Josh Brolin.
Shoot first and inquire afterwards.
Margaret Qualley.
Okay, tough guy.
And Guy Pearce.
Arm up!
The Dog Stars, directed by Ridley Scott, in theaters August 28th. Get tickets now. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parents.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever the Podcast. This is the show here at E2C Network where our goal is to catch you up on the latest Auburn news, topics, discussions, things that you need to be aware of when you're trying to share, experience, and talk about the Auburn experience, out about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. If it's orange and blue, it's what we do here. This is episode 108 for Ever the Podcast, and as always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis. Today's date is August 14th, 2026, and we thank you for joining us once again. This is going to be the first official one when we are sitting officially in the 2026-2027 Auburn Athletic calendar year. So we'll kind of shift back into the format a lot of you got accustomed to throughout last athletic calendar year. And we use the athletic calendar year primarily to say this, obviously, but we talk about academics. We talk about things outside of the university. This is just kind of the calendar with which we work around. So for those of you that maybe have found this particular show on our feed for the first time, let me give you the rundown of how this works. We're going to walk through different categories of Auburn athletics, Auburn culture, Auburn University, things like that we think that you need to be aware of. We may miss some things out there, and you are welcome to let us know so maybe we can correct that on a future show and make people aware of something. So our goal here is just to get the most out there that we can get for you, just so that you can have more awareness of what's going on. As we said 1,000 times, I think at this point, the Auburn experience. And at the end, as we always did last year during the calendar year, we're going to give you what to watch on this weekend, which we finally have multiple things to watch, especially sports-wise, on an Auburn weekend. So let's start with our news items. We're going to start in the category of the pros, as we've been doing throughout this offseason. We'll probably switch more to doing the fall sports first in the coming weeks, if I remember to make that switch over. But first, the pros. Jackson Koiven continues his very successful start in the PGA Tour. Now, obviously, he won his first PGA Tour event last, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. At this point, feels a lot longer, honestly, at this point. But he officially did make, I think we discussed it on last week's show, the FedEx Cup, which is going to be that championship or series of events where they're going to ultimately result in the PGA Tour Championship. I'm a bit of a novice to this, and I'm kind of learning it on the fly myself. Right now, he's competing in the St. Jude Championship, which is the first part of that FedEx Cup. Remember, he was the last one to make it into the field, and as of right now, I think through first round of play, he's sitting at the 43rd spot, and there will be a series of cuts, I think, down to 50, down to 30, before they move on to different events. Down to 50, the next 50 will go to the next event, and so on. So there's still plenty of rounds to play in this. He's off to at least a decent start. Seems to be at this point below the cut line. If I'm getting all that wrong, golf pros out there, I'll get it right on the next time. But I'm learning. I'm getting there. Just want to make people aware that Jackson Koiven's out there doing big things. They need to watch him. Okay, let's talk about probably the biggest news of the week. That is, yes, related to Auburn athletics, because it's going to be utilizing an athletic space, and it's going to be, through helping on to victory, all that kind of, the essential usage of our facilities to help, with all of the expenses and things like that. We told you when they partnered with Peachtree Entertainment that you would be seeing a lot of different things. We have seen a World Cup event lead up to that, at least, hosted by Auburn, and that was an incredible thing, which we have tons about. But if you follow the main podcast, you heard Austin and I make some predictions about who and or what, this time who, might be coming to perform, in this instance, in Neville Arena or Jordan-Hare. We have an answer. Nate Bargatze, probably one of the hottest, if not the hottest name in comedy right now, because he's uniquely different in that he tends to not be very, risque or has to cuss a lot or anything like that. He just is kind of a clean comic, and he does a really good job at it. He is a very, very funny guy, and he is coming to Neville Arena. So if you have not looked into how to get the tickets and stuff, I would highly recommend that. This is part of his tour. Nate Bargatze had this Big Dumb Eyes tour, which that's a really funny time. The more I think about it, he says Big Dumb Eyes goes to college. That will be Friday, October 16th in Neville Arena. No time has been set right that through their partnership with Peachtree Entertainment. And it's going to be a wild night. So if you are interested in that, you should look into it, because I know those tickets are going to be going fast. Maybe by the time you've heard this, they're going to be gone. But look into that. It's going to be a great time, and continue to show Auburn that you want more of things like this by showing up. And you never know what else might end up in Neville Arena or Jordan-Hare Stadium, especially with partnerships like Peachtree Entertainment. We got a little bit of news on Thursday evening that was a little bit of a surprise in terms of transfer portal type of news for men's basketball. If you heard about some rulings out there, everything's changing in the portal these days, that there was some opened up eligibility for fifth year for certain category of players. And Auburn and Coach Stephen Pearl did get asked about that and did address that if there was an opportunity that felt right for them, they just weren't going to take somebody to take them, that they would do that, and they have done that. Utah State transfer guard Kolby King has committed to Auburn. Now, that has not been, as of doing this show on a Thursday night, the recording part of this for you all so you can listen on Friday, there's not been an official acknowledgement of the actual signing, although they have acknowledged the commitment announcement of Kolby King. Just keep that in mind. Just some real quick information from you from the commitment announcement. 6'1" senior from Utah State, averaging 7.5 points, 3.3 rebounds per game. Utah State's been a pretty decent basketball school over the last couple of years. He's been to St. John's, Tulane, Butler, and then Utah State. So he's been around. There's going to be a lot of jokes with that as well, and uses this fifth year of eligibility for Auburn University and to be added to that guard rotation there, which I'm sure is going to be really important to have that a little bit of extra depth. So a lot of craziness out there, but certainly Auburn has found a way to benefit from it. For women's basketball, we have a little bit of schedule news. We were waiting on this after the men announced their SEC schedule for 2026, the official dates and things like that. We have it now for the women's basketball program. Let me just give you the quick rundown. Whew, boy, let's start off at LSU. Excuse me, we're hosting LSU at home. I was that worried about it. You start off with LSU at home in SEC play, which is just going to be absolutely brutal. To Kentucky, at home versus Vanderbilt. To Georgia, to Florida, at home versus Ole Miss, at home versus Texas A&M. To LSU, at home versus Arkansas and Texas. To Alabama, to Tennessee. That's going to be a rough stretch. Let me back up there. At home versus Mississippi State. To Oklahoma, to South Carolina, and then finishing out the year with the Tigers of other Columbia. Missouri is going to finish off at Auburn on February 28th, it looks like. Then December 11th to February 28th. Very interesting that the first, I said that wrong. I read that wrong. That's when the print's too small, guys. You make sure you read the print. I thought it said December 11th. It's December 31st. That sounds more like it. That's usually about the time that they start, give or take a couple of days. It's usually on the turn of the year. But New Year's Eve is when it starts with LSU and continues on, obviously, into February. There is your SEC schedule. We'll talk more about that on the main podcast this week with Austin.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Some news for some of our Olympic sports here. Right now, the European Championships are going on as we speak and have been transpiring. There's several Auburn athletes that are currently participating that are of an international flair. It's been going on from August 10th to the 16th in Paris, France. Several names out there. They've got a post out with all of them on there. I'm not going to butcher all their names, but obviously they're either from Israel or there's Israel represented in there, but a lot of European nations and a few other mixed in there as well. The European Championships, they're out there now. Go check them out and see who you could be rooting for in your Auburn flair. More golf news. Now, we did talk about Jackson Coyven. Logan Riley is one of those new names that was there last year for Auburn, but has been getting more notoriety as the time has gone on. He is currently competing in the U.S. Amateur Championship, and he is right now in the quarterfinals, at least for Friday he is, if you're listening to this on a Friday. So he continues to show that he is going to replenish. He already has because he's been here for a while, but he's going to be part of that new wave for Auburn men's golf. A lot of people worry what happens after Jackson Coyven, but as you can see, still doing pretty good with a lot of the individuals that are currently here. We have a lot of preseason recognitions left. I know it feels like for the last episode, but the one before that too, they started rolling in. This is just that time of year, and eventually we're going to get through them all. But let's talk about them so you know who has their eyes on which Auburn Tigers in Auburn football. We're going to start with the Freaks list. This comes out every year and has been doing for the last couple of years, and has to do with the athletic prowess of certain individuals. Right now for Auburn, Byram Brown, quarterback, and defensive lineman Deshaun Womack are the ones that are getting the nod for the Freaks list. Moving on to the Pro Football Network preseason All-America list. No shock here, Xavier Atkins and Rashawn Pleasant. You're probably getting a little bit of a nod for Rashawn here, not only for being a good defensive back, but for what he can do on special teams as well, which is going to be highly valuable for the pros, especially when he heads that way, hopefully, thus the Pro Football Network putting him on that potential list there. We've also got Xavier Atkins, again, I feel like I'm going to repeat this a couple of times, making the On3 preseason All-America list for that particular one out there. Next up, the Werfel Award. I always struggle with that one. Werfel Award, yeah, obviously for the former Florida player. And I guess Heisman Trophy, if I remember correctly, I guess I should say more than that. But this particular award, Alex McPherson is up for that one on the watch list. That shouldn't be a shock if you know the story for Alex in that particular way. The PFF, which is a lot of involved with grading football players, that has... they have a lot of stats that come out throughout the week. The highest graded returning SEC defensive tackle is Cody Sigler. Now, he's not returning in terms of to Auburn, but returning to the game. He has a lot of hype around him, as you can tell. It's been happening amongst the Auburn faithful, but this is kind of one of those signs outside of that a lot of people are starting to pay attention that Auburn got something special as a guy stepping up from that group of five level up to the power conference level. Obviously, a lot of eyes on him this year, I should say. Xavier Atkins, again, the Butkus Award. Now, this one should be obvious. This is a linebacker award, so, I mean, this was the one we all knew was going to eventually be in his camp. He was getting all the other ones for different awards out there, but the Butkus Award watch list for him is just one of those situations for him particularly. And so that should be the bulk of it. Let me say this last bit about football. Obviously, we're in the throes of fall camp. We'll have a little bit more to remind you about that towards the end here. But as I always would love for you to do is to inform yourself, not just with the interpretations of what's happening by myself and others out there, but do the research yourself. Go and watch the press conferences, the interviews. A lot of those the athletic department provides for us to put out for you all on our channels, such as YouTube. Highly, highly recommend you take the time, just throw it on in the background, watch and or listen and hear what the players and the coaches are saying. There's been a lot of that this week, and we'll have more throughout the rest of fall camp as long as they're being provided. And then there's plenty of other ways that you can get interpretations about what's going on in fall camp. But there's nothing like hearing it straight from those that are participating through coaching and playing. So that is what I would recommend to you. Nothing really, I would say, big this week outside of just, reactions to how certain people are performing. I would imagine we're going to get some larger news after the first scrimmage coming up very, very, very soon here. Some soccer news here to round us out in this portion of the show. The preseason watch list has been out, and you've got a lot of Tigers on the list there. Kennedy Husbands, Lily Devereaux, and Jordan Crosby, Eva Pattinson, and Dylan Driver making that list. Speaking of Auburn soccer, they are officially getting us started with the 2026-27 Auburn Athletics calendar year. They are the first team, as always, to go out there in an official capacity, not an exhibition, and play a game. They took on Clemson. Shocker, it feels like we play Clemson and everything all the time. Clemson, they do go to a draw, which is the most frustrating way to start the season, 0-0. So there is some element to that is of value to them as much as that frustrates us. But they are officially getting us kicked off for the year, literally. And it's nice to see Auburn sports back in the headlines. Speaking of which, that is going to bring us to the last part of this show where we want to remind you of your Auburn weekend to watch. From Friday to Saturday to Sunday, 14th through the 16th, these are some things to keep in mind. For Friday, the first fall scrimmage. Like I said, there could be a lot coming out of that. Whatever the athletic department provides to us, we'll put out there like on our YouTube, Facebook, a lot of interpretations of that. So I would certainly check that out and, again, watch those press conferences or interviews, whatever they put out. Nothing really going on Saturday, but Sunday you will have volleyball in an exhibition match between themselves, the orange versus blue scrimmage. Soccer will play match 2 of the year versus Jacksonville State, and we'll be hosting that. Head on out there if you haven't had an opportunity to yet, and make sure you try to do that this season for year 2 of Coach Armstrong. And finally, something that goes across the weekend, or maybe a little open-ended, because if they win, they continue on. A lot of golf here. Keep in mind, Logan Riley is continuing on in that amateur and the pro amateur thing. I always struggle with how to describe it as a novice here in the golf world. He's competing in the U.S. Amateur. That's what it is. And then finally, Jackson Coyvin. He is continuing on in the FedEx Cup St. Jude Championship right now, so keep them in mind when you're checking stuff this weekend. So that is your news. That is your things to watch for Auburn on the weekend. Like I said, we probably missed some things out there. You can let us know about that through a variety of ways, or just if you want to get in contact with us in general, through our email, e2cnetwork@gmail.com, or our direct messages are open pretty much everywhere, I believe, on all social media. Those are great ways to get in contact with us, and we'd love to hear from you for any feedback, things that you just want to talk about. It's open to you at any time. So as we leave you today, I do want to remind you that the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. We're going to ask you to do the same thing. War Eagle.